244 days, Chris, until November 5th. What comes next?
Mick's so bummed out he's trying to get to Cuba. He's going to swim for it. Look, the reality that snaps into the frame once you get into the general election. So there's a hypothetical election and that partisans are mostly focused on, or hardcore partisans are mostly focused on. Then you get into the general election, and then the persuadable voters who have mostly been, I guess, here's the best way to think about it. The people who matter most in this election, the persuadable voters, have been trying to avoid this topic for 2 years. And it's going to increasingly be put right under their snouts, and they're going to, for the next 244 days, they're going to get just drilled with it, and I bet they're not going to be happy.
Right into your living room. Mick Mulvaney, what comes next year as you see it, as now it's essentially one-on-one?
A lot of what you saw in 2020. Actually, you're going to see Donald Trump try and do a lot of what he did in 2020 because he still thinks that he won. I'll be watching Biden very closely. Keep in mind, in 2020, he had the perfect excuse to not campaign very heavily. People did not expect him to campaign. It was okay to stay in your basement and campaign from there. That's not the case anymore. So we've not seen Biden really campaign since, goodness gracious, what, Chris, 2016? I think he was in that race for a brief period of time. So he's really the unknown here. What does Joe Biden bring to the table? We all know what Donald Trump's got. It's going to be the Rolling Stones' greatest hits. If you've seen him before, you've seen it already. But the Biden thing is really going to be an unknown, I think, moving forward.
All right, speaking of Biden, you're out on the trail. Kelly, you're over at the White House. What's the campaign saying now?
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing from them that they want to see now Haley's supporters come over. They're saying, hey, come on over to us if you don't want to support former President Trump. So they're hoping to bring them in. We'll see if he can do that maybe with his State of the Union address. We're also seeing this back and forth now between Trump and Biden going on social media and the Trump campaign, the Biden campaign, on whether or not they're going to debate each other. That going on. The Biden team responding, saying if Trump is so desperate to see Biden in prime time, he can join the tens of millions of Americans and watch the State of the Union address. So, but we'll see if the enthusiasm, comes around for Biden. He's going to have to build that because at the end of the day, from being on the campaign trail, Trump supporters, if people aren't enthused to come out for Biden and, like what you were saying, they don't want to see a rerun.
What you hearing in Trump world?
They can't wait. This election has one thing in it that 2020 didn't have. Joe Biden has a record, and the American people do not like it. It's 50, 60, 65% disapprove on every major issue. 2/3 of the American people think the country's on the wrong track. Joe Biden was hypothetical and could hide in his basement in 2020. He can't hide from his record.
But there's an enthusiasm gap with Trump.
There is. And this is what I'm looking at the numbers, and look, we're operatives. So we look at it a little differently than Chris, and I'm diving into North Carolina. And this election, we've got Trump at 790, Haley around 250,000, Biden around 606,000. So we've got 606,000 people showing up for Biden. In 2012, where it was the same, it was a reelect, we had 766,000 plus 200,000 showing up for not uncommitted. So we had more people showing up then. If we look at 2020, that's 1.3 million people. So if we look at the Democratic turnout alone compared to these, we're down about 250,000, even if you add in the Haley voters with us compared to some of our enthusiasm elections. But I will say in Colorado, Trump is also down 100,000 votes. He's got 522,000 in his primary. And last time around, let me look. Oh, yeah. Last time around was 628,000. So it's about 100,000 gap.
What you would say?
I don't know. That's many numbers. There are many numbers that are there.
People don't want these candidates. They're not showing up.
I would only say to be careful about drawing inferences from primary turnout into general election turnout. We've seen high turnout generally in the primary so far, to a surprising degree on the Republican side. But the 2020 election, the 2018 and 2020 elections were historically large turnout. 2022 dropped off. I think Democrats win a lower turnout election.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.